man, it feels good to come back to the Chucky movies. It's been 4 years since Curse of Chucky and subsequently my reviews of the other 6 movies. Making those reviews remains today some of the most fun I've ever had making a series review or even making a video in general, and those videos are some of my most popular, with the Seed of Chucky review getting over 35,000 views alone. So obviously I was going to return to the series to review the newest entry in the franchise, Cult of Chucky. Writer and director Don Mancini returns once again with another straight-to-video movie. Curse of Chucky remains one of my favourite movies in the series, so I was excited to see how Mancini would follow on from it. And he's followed on in a way that I don't think anyone could have expected, but also in a way that is very different and intriguing. I think this is one that newcomers will be incredibly put off by, but if you're a fan of the franchise, then you'll probably have a hell of a good time. Quick warning before going into this review, there are going to be some slight spoilers. Nothing like too major or anything, I don't spoil the ending at all, but there are important plot points that I want to talk about that wasn't really shown in the trailers or promotional material. So if you want to go into the movie completely unaware of what's going to happen, I'd recommend watching the film first and then coming back to the review afterwards. And if I remember, I'll put an annotation on the screen so you can find out my overall scores of the film also. The film starts off with Andy Barclay from the original trilogy once again played by Alex Vincent from the first 2. Following on from the after credits scene from the last movie, we see that Andy has kept Chucky's head inside a vault and constantly takes it out to torture it. After the events of the last movie, Nika is in a mental institution for the criminally insane. After she starts to believe that she was the person who murdered her family and that Chucky was just a manifestation of her psychosis, she is transferred to a medium security institution. Andy, however, talks to a doctor called Dr. Foley and shows him Chucky's head in an attempt to free her, but the doctor dismisses it as just special effects. In the new institution, Nika has to attend regular group therapy sessions where the characters Malcolm, Angela, Claire and Madeline also attend. Dr. Foley decides to introduce a good guy doll, also named Chucky, to the group. All the patients are unsettled by it except Madeline, who takes the doll and says that it is her baby. Shortly afterwards, Nika is visited by Tiffany, who claims to be Nika's niece Alice's legal guardian. Tiffany tells Nika that Alice has died, but that she wanted to give her a Chucky doll that apparently she used in similar therapy sessions. That night, the Chucky doll awakens and finds that Nika has tried to kill herself by slitting her wrists. Nika then wakes up to find her wrists all stitched up, a message that says "not so fast" written in her blood, and Angela dead in her bed. Then Nika starts to believe that she isn't crazy and that Chucky is actually real, especially after realizing that Tiffany was Chucky's girlfriend before his death. Believing Madeline is in danger, Nika gets Malcolm to go out and warn her. Madeline then throws both Chucky and Malcolm into an open grave. Then when he's pulled out, it's believed that Chucky has transferred his soul into him. Meanwhile, Claire is believed to be self-harming, so she is sedated and strapped to a gurney. While the nurses go to save Malcolm, the other Chucky doll comes in and kills her. We then go back to Andy, who finds out about the deaths and realizes that Chucky has managed to transfer his soul into multiple bodies at once. So the rest of the movie is about Andy trying to end the carnage and Nika trying to convince the doctors that she isn't crazy and that Chucky is going to kill her and everyone else in the hospital. This is about as deep as I'm going to get into the film because I don't want to spoil the rest of it. To say this film is very different to the other movies is a huge understatement. This is basically a completely different movie entirely, but that works completely in the film's favour. It ends up being very memorable because of how weird and unique it is. Unlike some horror franchises that have 6 sequels, this film does a great job of linking every single film together. It doesn't forget any of the continuity of the other films, and there are constant references to previous events and even a couple of cameos which I won't spoil. I really enjoyed seeing Andy back after all these years, and it was really cool that they even got the original actor back. And I also liked how they showed the effects that Chucky has had on him over the years. The film literally starts with him on a date who, after finding out about his past, decides to leave him. And then it shows him going home and torturing the doll. That just shows us that Chucky has had such a huge grip on his life that even after all these years he can't move on and forget about it. And it's really satisfying seeing him getting his revenge in some ways, even if it does turn out that Chucky's soul is in multiple dolls. And I also like that Tiffany got a lot more screen time than she did in the previous movie, when she's only actually shown in I think like 1 scene. Although she's not in the film quite enough, it's still cool to see her again. As much as I really love Curse of Chucky, there are some things about it that are lacking, especially in the effects department. There is a little too much CGI, and the CGI is quite off at times, which is kind of expected considering it's quite a low budget movie. But in this film there is a lot more practical effects, which definitely works in its favour. The death scenes are all really well done, and I like the fact that they call back to some deaths in previous movies and actually do them again without the fear of sentences cutting them down. They're very gory and well done. Fans of gore would definitely be pleased. The acting in this film for the most part is really good. Fiona Dourif, yes, Brad Dourif's daughter as Nika, is fantastic. She is a scene stealer in every scene she is in, and of course Brad Dourif gives yet another fantastic performance as Chucky, and it's nice to hear him speak way more than he did in the last movie. He has way more one-liners and generally is just way funnier than before. The tone of the film kind of feels like a mixture of the comedic style of Bride of Chucky and the more darker style of Curse of Chucky. There are moments that are really funny, but also a lot of quite tense moments. Although this film is nowhere near as scary as the previous movie or even movies. Although I did find myself excited at times and intrigued as to what happened next, I was never really terrified or anything. I also like the idea of there being multiple Chucky dolls, even if it was a little bit stupid. And also the idea of him finding out about how to transfer his soul into multiple bodies by looking it up on Google was also incredibly stupid. But I still thought it was cool, and it was nice to see something done different. If there's one huge problem in the film and one that really brings the film down, it would probably be the pace. The film is very slow, and that will put a lot of people off. I personally managed to look past it a lot of the time, but there were still some moments where I was bored and confused. The film doesn't really get going until about halfway through, which isn't a massive problem because I enjoyed the characters, but it still started to feel its length at times, which is something that apart from Seed of Chucky, no other movie in the series has done, and it was a massive shame. With this film and its predecessor, Curse of Chucky, it feels like Don Mancini is trying to create a new trilogy or collection of films. The previous movie links directly into this one, and this one ends on a huge cliffhanger where almost nothing is resolved, which was a bit annoying, but I'm just gonna see this one out. I'm sure Don Mancini knows what he's doing and will give us a follow-up that's worth the wait. At least I really hope he does. Although, just calling it now, I wouldn't be surprised if the next movie was actually the last in the series. Yeah, I just kind of felt like from the way things seem to start going at the end, it just has that kind of finale feel to it. Overall, there's a lot I like about this movie, but sadly it was a little bit too slow and ended up being quite boring to watch at times. I think die-hard fans, however, will be massively satisfied with this film. The Chucky series is one of my favourite horror series ever made, so there was a lot that I got out of the movie, but all in all it felt a tad lacking in my honest opinion. So I give Cult of Chucky a 7 out of 10.